Well, let me ask you, how many of you are familiar with this quote? Mirror, mirror on the wall, who is the fairest of them all? Raise your hands. Where is that from? Snow White. Spoken by who? The evil queen, right? You remember that in her magic mirror? And what did she see? Did she see a reflection of herself? Oh, she did not. Classic Disney movie. Mirrors. How many of you looked in the mirror this morning? And maybe some of you should have. No, I'm just joking. We all look in mirrors probably a few times a day, right? At home, in our bedroom or the bathroom, our car rear view mirror, our cell phone, right? But what if you could truly see yourself for the first time? There's a 110-year-old idea, this concept which involved joining two mirrors at 90-degree angles. It was first patented over 110 years ago by a Catholic priest in England, and in the last decade, it was resurrected by John Walter, who at the time was a 35-year-old Manhattan computer consultant. So day after day, for a lifetime, you, all of us, have been seeing a distorted version of yourself in every mirror you have ever gazed in. The only person on earth whose true face you never see in real time is your own. It's true. Your eyes don't just receive information, they transmit it. But every time you've seen yourself in a mirror, you've been receiving the true expressions and emotions conveyed by your face and your eyes backwards, right? And it makes sense. So this guy patented something called the true mirror. True mirror optically restores your true image from your mirror image, letting you see yourself not just as others see you, but as you really are in real time. When provided an opportunity to use this true mirror, people were moved, either positively or negatively. Some people started to cry. Others experienced and expressed a huge amount of joy, seeing themselves for the first time as everyone else has seen them. One person remarked, "Now I know why people like me." They finally see something that is beautiful and special that they never saw before when they were just looking at their own reflection. One woman commented, "I started noticing the flaws and imperfections in my face, the asymmetry. Looking at myself from a new perspective illuminates those a little bit. Looking past that and seeing that I am so much more than what is on the outside anyways. It's hard, but illuminating." Carolyn McHugh is a TED Talk presenter. She did a TED Talk at a women's conference. It was entitled The Art of Being Yourself. And she talks about this true mirror experience, but she also recalls growing up in Glasgow in Scotland and her mom when she was putting her makeup on. She said, "I used to love sitting and watching my mom putting her makeup on, with my chin in my hands. And I would tell her occasionally, 'Isn't it funny how one side of your top lip is higher than the other side of your top lip?' And she'd look in the mirror and she said, 'It is not.' And I'd say, 'No, it's only a couple of millimeters, but that side of your Cupid's bow is definitely higher than the other side.' And she would say, 'Caroline, you're havering.' And when I looked in the true mirror, myself," she said, "there was that lip that I had been wearing at that time for maybe 45 years, and I had never seen it before." She said, so the difference is when you look in a regular mirror, we all look for reassurance. You look for reassurance that you're beautiful, or that you're young, or that you're tidy. But when you look in a true mirror, you don't look at yourself, you look for yourself. You look for revelation, not reassurance. In her TED Talk, which I do recommend, she goes on to describe these 4 circles of self-identity. The first one is what others think of you, and then what you want others to think of you, and then what you think of yourself, And then the unchanging you. This core self remains consistent throughout life, and it is your life's message to the world. The goal is to discover, to claim that, the unchanging you, who you truly are. But this is challenging in today's culture. Recent studies have found that social media is not helping us develop and live into our true selves. Does that surprise anyone? Maybe you have read this book that came out a few years ago called The Happiness Effect. It talks about how social media is driving a generation to appear perfect at any cost. It was written by Donna Frietta. She was the research associate at the University of Notre Dame Center for the Study of Religion and Society and teaches at Hofstra University. And during the spring semester of 2015, so about 10 years ago, she visited 13 colleges and universities to conduct a private one-on-one interviews with over 200 randomly selected young women and men. In this widely diverse study, there was one unifying and central theme emerging: the importance of appearing happy. One of the questions was, I try always to appear positive and happy with anything attached to my real name. 75% of the people said yes. If it's attached to my name, I want the world to think that I am happy and have it all together. And in this research and in her book, we come across a few different people. There's Emma, who said these words: people share the best versions of themselves, and we compare that to the worst versions of ourselves. Yet behind the screen, they are still themselves, with all of their imperfections, insecurities, and perceived failures. Margaret was grading herself on the number of likes that she would get on every single post. And because of what she saw on Facebook, Margaret used to spend all of her time thinking that she should be somewhere else, and that prevented her from being happy with where she actually was. I think they call that FOMO. Have you heard of that? Fear of missing out, right? Now, fortunately, all of you are in the best place in the world to be this weekend, so there's no FOMO here. You're in Stowe, Vermont. But I am sure you have experienced this as well. Michael, this one's interesting and funny. He shares examples of his grandmother's influence when she got a Facebook account, and she befriended him. She was appalled at how much he posted, the kinds of updates he made, and the language he used. This was not the grandson she knew, and she told him so. And he quickly deleted his Facebook. But of course, we all know we do not have to be on social media to compare ourselves to other people, or to worry about others' responses to what we say or what we do. Engaging in status competitions is nothing new. We can do it with friends, successes, portfolios, vacations, vacation homes. How many days on the mountain did you get to? 58, by the way. The schools we send our children to, the cars we drive, our looks, our likes. But the reality is we should not and cannot compare. Because the truth is, there's no comparison to you. Ralph Waldo Emerson said it wonderfully. To be yourself in a world that is constantly trying to make you something else is the greatest accomplishment. And a famous quote, be yourself, everyone else is already taken, by Oscar Wilde. And so we come to this psalm, this beautiful prayer. The psalmist writes, O Lord, you have searched me and know me. For it was you who formed my inward parts. You knit me together in my mother's womb. I praise you, for I am fearfully and wonderfully made. Wonderful are your works that I know very well. My frame was not hidden from you. Beautiful words. Your eyes beheld my unformed substance. In your book were written all the days that were formed for me, when none of them had yet existed. It's a beautiful prayer, and it's an important prayer for us. To begin with, the psalmist addresses God directly in this, using the personal name of Israel's God, Yahweh. Yahweh. It's the name of God. The second person pronouns in this psalm occur 10 times in the first 6 verses. You, Yahweh, have searched. You know. You discern. In addition, the psalmist refers to self 13 times, but not in the narcissist, egocentric way. But you have searched me. You have known me. When I sit down, when I rise up, my thoughts, my path. With the abundance of the first and second person pronouns, just in the first 6 verses of this psalm, it reflects the profound relationship between the I and you, or the I and thou, if you like the King James Version. It's about a relationship, an intimate relationship. Walter Brueggemann describes this relationship by saying, the Psalms are prayers addressed to a known, named, identifiable you. This is the most stunning and decisive factor in the prayers of the Psalter. These are prayers of relationship and intimacy with God, the creator of all that we see, all of us, all of God's works are wonderful and beautiful. We are to know God just as God knows us. The language in this psalm implies real knowledge, intimate knowledge. Each one of us was formed and framed by God. God's eyes beheld our unformed substances. Each of us was reverently, wondrously, strikingly, remarkably, differently made in ways that are beyond human explanation. In any time, in any place, the words of Psalm 139 provide comforting assurance of God's sovereign creation of and God's care for each and every person. Each and every one of us, each and every one of you watching online, each and every one of those visiting our town, each and every one of people in Israel and Gaza and around the world. How amazing is that? Have you ever been walking along a beach, stop for a second, and you shift your focus from the obvious beauty of the ocean to what's underneath your feet? I'm sure you have. And it probably looks like a bunch of unremarkable brown sand, right? And to the naked eye, you're totally right. Except, the truth is, sand is very much remarkable when you put it under the microscope. When Dr. Gary Greenberg turned his microscope on the beach sand, gem-like minerals, colorful coral fragments, and delicate microscopic shells emerged, revealing that sand comprises much more than little brown rocks. He's written 2 books on this, The Secrets of Sand, as well as A Grain of Sand, Nature's Secret Wonder. And he said, every time I see sand under a microscope, it's a surprise. It's like treasure hunting. Only the treasures are very small, and they're not very expensive. Greenberg's shots are truly remarkable and surprising. The sand in his photos look like craft store beads, not the pile of grains that you empty out of your shoe after a day of the beach. Each little speck has its own original story, resulting in a massive, beautiful collage that we can't see on our own. Well, friends, the psalm reminds us that what we can't see, God does see. That we are all created in God's image, created beautifully, with intrinsic worth. You were created with a purpose and for a purpose that only you can accomplish. The you that God created you to be. Jesus said, I have called you my friends. For everything I have learned from my Father I have made known to you. You did not choose me, but I choose you and appoint you so that you may bear good fruit, fruit that will last. This is my command, to love one another. And so, friends, even on bad hair days and minimum Facebook likes, and if your sales are not high enough, your performance is slumping, the market is down, you are at a loss for words or inspiration, or you just find it hard to get out of bed and to face the world, remember, you are not just an unremarkable grain of sand. You are this. This is sand under a microscope. You are a treasure, each and every one of you, known and loved by God. This is the good news of the gospel. This is the good news of God's love for us and for all people. And we are part of a beautiful collage called the family of God. The Christian church, God's beloved sisters and brothers and children. Thanks be to God, who knows us and loves us unconditionally, everlasting and eternally, now and always. Amen.